Welcome back to Film Buff Bros, and in this episode, we're going to discuss our favorite film scores.
Music to my ears.
Well, yeah, a lot to choose from. Before we hit record here, we're just kind of chatting. There's so many good, what would you call it? I was going to say scorers, but...
Runner-ups or
well, no,
or
just
composers.
Composers, yeah, of course. John Williams, we were saying Jaws, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. There's lots of action movies. And then there's some stuff that's more obscure, like Ravenous. I almost went with Ravenous because it's so unique and, I don't know, creepy. And sometimes it seems like inappropriate, but somehow it works. It's very like playful. But what I'm going with is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I think, again, it combines being playful at times with being dreadful, and then some moments which, with other music it would seem more dreadful or more dire and dark, but they put in playful music in it, and then it kind of becomes a comedy. I remember one time when Harrison Ford was on Conan O'Brien, and Conan O'Brien was like, oh, you're really a good actor. But I think that if we play some playful music, it's going to be very difficult for you to keep a straight face. He's like, all right, so have a really straight face, like serious or angry, and then a band is going to play something silly, and it's like, do, 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 do. He's trying to keep a straight face, but he breaks, cracks a smile pretty quickly. So, yeah, I think that The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly does a great job of when they want you to have a dreadful feeling, when they want the audience to have a dreadful feeling, when, what do you call them, that Lee Van Cleef, Angel Eyes, is, doing some assassinations and stuff, like there's really foreboding music in it. But then when The Ugly, I can't remember that actor's name, was in some Tennessee Williams movie, he's like the comic relief kind of guy. So there's very little, if ever, from my recollection, dreadful music when he's on scene. And unique usage of instruments. And Ennio Morricone was able to, use instruments somehow in a way that just sounded very unique to him. And then there's lots of quick and jarring little sounds that come in, and you find that in Once Upon a Time in the West too, just like, little sound effects, and like the soundscaping as well, like wind chimes and stuff. That's more so in Once Upon a Time in the West, and like the harmonica. Yeah, so, but I'm choosing The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly over Once Upon a Time in the West because of the comedy, and I think it's a little more complex scoring as a result of it. You have to be a little more careful with what you're doing to make it not corny, and to keep the balance of to use the music to set the mood appropriately. I think is a little more difficult than Once Upon a Time in the West, because that's primarily just a straight like drama action movie,
Yeah, like when you have variations in the score, you have like a balance, you have that juxtaposition. I think it makes it makes the intense moments more pronounced, and it makes the comedy moments more relaxed and jovial. So there's so many to pick, like as there's this huge list, and I was looking up other people's lists. But and I still think this is probably not even my favorite score. I'm torn between this one and Psycho, because I really like Psycho's score, and I'd like to maybe talk about that movie on a different show. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in America, I didn't see that on a lot of people's lists, and I think that's my favorite Morricone score. It's hypnotic with the flute, and I was thinking like it's like when you hypnotize a snake with the flute, like there's something about that, and it's nostalgic, it's romantic, it's reflective. But it's also got like I don't know if this is how you describe the other sounds, but like the juxtaposition here is almost like a mischievous carnival sound. It's almost like a carnival sound.
It's a good description.
Right? And by itself, it tells a story. I didn't watch the movie last night. I just put the score on and listened to it, and it's just so much depth to it and so many variations to it. But again, and it's a very intricate score. but it's got a very cohesive melody to it that sticks in your mind. You remember it. If someone says, what's your favorite score, the Psycho, and usually this one will pop in my head. And it fits the scenes of the era of the 1930s, New York, the trumpet sounds and all this stuff. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going with that for score. But Psycho, that's just, Bernard Herrmann is another fantastic composer. And Psycho is one of, just when I saw that movie for the first time as a kid, Mom recommended to watch it. I think that was one of the first things I noticed, because the opening credits and that those violins going, like, it's just, and then when she's like driving in the rain trying to get to the hotel, it's just so like pulls you in, and you're like, there's like a composer here with a very like he knows the direction he wants to go with this. He's very got a signature, and Herrmann always had like such a signature to his scores. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, Psycho definitely had like that, like it kind of it worked for that moment while she's driving, but it's also like kind of feels like you're inside Norman Bates' head, it's like just like this menacing, like scatterbrain, insane kind of like, yeah, no, he did an amazing job, Bernard Herrmann, yeah. But I just want to say, one of the things you're saying there, I think you're saying you're listening to the soundtrack by itself and a story, or how it tells a story itself. Honorable mention, Alejandro Jodorowsky, The Holy Mountain. He wrote it, directed it, starred in it, and scored it. And that's a soundtrack that I used to listen to quite a bit by itself.
Yeah. I mean, so many honorable mentions. Jaws, Star Wars, we could go on and on and on.
Yeah. But if we ever did an episode where it was best, like, director, composer, there's not many of those. So, I mean, it's a pretty short list, and I think Alejandro Jodorowsky would probably be my choice, especially for The Holy Mountain.
Yeah, that's a good idea for a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to think of someone. But
well, if you have a topic, please leave it down below in the comment section. And also click the notification icon and subscribe so you can get all of our awesome content as it comes out.
keep on rocking in the free world.